Richard Skipper celebrates. Every show is a celebration. Richard Skipper celebrates the best in entertainment. Each show, Richard delivers the artists you love, showcasing what makes them unique. Never gossipy. The antidote to a sometimes hectic world. Now, here's your host, Richard Skipper.
Happy Tuesday, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of Richard Skipper Celebrates. What are you celebrating today? I believe that life is all about celebration, and there's a lot to celebrate if we only take the time to do so. And today I am going to be celebrating not only one of my favorite actresses, Renée Taylor, who is right here today, but also a delightful new film called Tango Shalom. Last night, I sat and I watched this film and I laughed and I cried and I got up and I danced around my living room because it is so full of life. It is so full of the meaning of life. I'm going to share with you this incredible trailer about this wonderful film. It truly is a family affair, as we're going to discuss in a moment. And in a few moments, you're going to meet Renée Taylor, and we're going to celebrate together. Here it is, Tango Shalom.
Rabbi Yehuda, why do women wear scarves or wigs on their heads?
For respect.
My name is Viviana Nieves. What's yours?
The same way it is forbidden for a man to touch any woman other than one's wife.
Moshe, the children.
I had a dream.
This way. I like it like that.
Hashem told you to dance in a tango contest?
A Gentile dancing teacher wants to tango with you?
Dance.
In a TV contest?
No! You're a lunatic!
She's a bad mother.
You might find there is no need to touch this woman in tango.
How can I achieve my goal without sacrificing my sacred beliefs?
We're gonna kick him right out of the community.
I got big problems.
Big problems can be such big fun.
How do we convince people that a young, pretty shiksa dancing partner is just a young, pretty shiksa dancing partner?
She should be dressing very modestly. You cannot even touch her hair. You cannot even have eye contact with her. If I understand the communication from that dance tango, it's impossible.
Why are you hoping that he sins?
We've got work to do.
We should be praying that he doesn't sin.
I never had a best friend before.
Who is that?
Yo!
Oh, Renée, I am hoping that by the end of today that you and I are best friends because I love you so much. And I want to tell you this film, which is a family affair, which we're going to discuss. I want to ask you, because this show is about celebrating, in addition to this film, and we're going to talk about what just happened with you in Palm Springs. What else are you celebrating right now?
Well, I had my hip replaced a month ago, And next year, maybe I'll do the other one if I'm lucky. And they asked me to be the grand marshal of the gay parade in Palm Springs. And I said, oh, I don't know. I just had an operation. I can't get in a car. Then they said, I got in the car and they said, could you sit in the back? I said, okay, I'll try. Could you sit on top of the car? Oh my God. Well, how many miles an hour will you go? Slow? They went, I couldn't believe that, first of all, that I'm either 38, depending on the lighting, or 88, just had a hip operation, and I'm sitting on the back of a convertible in a parade. There were 250,000 people screaming, Renee, Renee, we love you. I couldn't stop crying the whole day. It was such an honor.
Well, I will say this is not the first time that you've been the grand marshal of a gay pride parade.
Well, in New York, and there were 5 million people. And that was a real thrill. That was a real thrill. But here, I don't know, because it's a small town, a small community, to have 250,000 people was pretty great.
Well, I have to ask you, how does it feel to be a gay icon?
Well, I have to tell you that some people, I said, oh, I'm a Renée Taylor impersonator. The real Renée Taylor is in the back float. They thought that was very funny.
Well, you know, I was good friends with Carol Channing, who lived in Palm Springs, and she used to joke that she entered a Carol Channing lookalike contest, and she came in 3rd place.
Oh, that's so funny.
So it does happen. But, you know, you have had this incredible career, and we're going to talk about the past, but we also want to talk about this incredible film created by your wonderful son, Gabriel, who I just met virtually for the first time a few moments ago. Let's talk, first of all, about this film and how it came about.
Well, Olympia Dukakis was offered my part, and she read it, and she said, get Renée Taylor. So they called me and said, would you like to play an Orthodox Jewish woman? I said, well, I never have before. I don't have the clothes. But I could get some. So then I read it, and I showed it to my husband, Joe Bologna, and I said, you know, if you would rewrite it and make it funnier and put in more dance and more enchanted celebration, make it more into a fable. And if Gabe could direct it, and the Lignato brothers, they never acted before. And I'm not saying it because he's my son, but he is a genius. He's directed me before. We did a horror movie. And it's so much fun to be directed by your son, because first of all, you don't have to call him 5 times a day. You just say, Gabe, and he's there. So that's the joy.
You've had this incredible career because you and Joe created such incredible chemistry together, not only as writers, but the work that you did both on stage and film. Talk about the alchemy of 2 people who live together, creating that work together on stage. What was it about the 2 of you? Because I know that, first of all, I don't think that I could live with another entertainer. There has to be a certain, chemistry that goes between the 2 of you. What was the magic between you and Joe? Obviously, we all experienced it, who sat in the dark watching the 2 of you. But what was it beyond that?
Well, first of all, the moment that I met him, I was madly in love with him. And when my manager said, I'm going to introduce you to somebody you're going to have a comedy rapport with, and I shook his hand, I looked in his eyes, and I got this hit. This is the man I'm going to marry, before my hand even went in his. And later, Joe told me that he thought, this woman's looking at me very funny. Because men are slower than women. He didn't know that that I was his destiny until I told him.
You were convinced that you were, I mean, well, I know that you also have this affinity with Mae West, which we're going to talk about also.
Oh, yes.
But she was also very psychic. Do you have that psychic connection?
I'm a Pisces. I think Pisces are psychics. And my mother was a Sagittarius. And before I was born, my mother said, my daughter is going to be an actress. I'm going to name her after Renée Taylor. You're too young to remember her, but she was a silent screen actress.
I know who she is.
I'm so excited to find her name with a star on Hollywood Boulevard, Renée Taylor. When I was a little girl, I used to practice writing my name, but I wrote Renée Taylor. I didn't write Renée Wexler, which was my name. And by the way, I'm in the Bronx, because that's where I'm from, the Bronx Jewish Hall of Fame in the Bronx. And I'm there as Renée Wexler Taylor Bologna. I have a star there as that.
So before you were born, your mom destined you to be in show business.
To be an actress, yes. Because she always wanted to be. And I said, Ma, why didn't you do it? You're very talented and you're beautiful. And she said, I'm going to cry.
Oh.
She said, no one ever loved me.
Oh.
I love you. That's what she said. And later on, you want to mention Carol Channing. Well, let me tell you a story. When Joe and
before you go there, I'm going to raise a cup to Frieda. That was your mom.
Thank you.
Say, Frieda, we love you because you gave the role to Renée.
Thank you, darling. Well, Carol Channing, Joe and I at one point wrote a play, Four in a Garden, with Carol Channing and Sid Caesar. And Carol Channing said, oh, I don't think I could play a Jewish mother. I can't imitate her. And I said, oh, sure you can. I'm going to bring my mother over and she'll tell you. And my mother, who wasn't an actress, who didn't have any training at all, just took the script and said, look, Carol, do it like this, do it like that. I couldn't believe it that my mother had that kind of courage to talk to Carol Channing. And Carol Channing imitated my mother on Broadway. How do you like that?
Well, everyone else imitated Carol. She was imitating your mom.
And do you know that my mother, later in life, I got her a scholarship at the Herbert Berghoff School. And she was really good. And I think she did she was in Made for Each Other. Did you ever see our movie Made for Each Other?
Oh, yes, of course.
She was in the group scene. She said, shut your mouth. She was so funny. She was so funny. The only thing was, she said, when she saw that she was hurt, she said, why did you get someone prettier to play me?
Oh, wow.
I said, because Mother, it's funny. And they didn't want to get a pretty actress. They wanted to get someone who was a comedian.
Wow.
Don't be hurt.
Wow. God bless her. Well, your family moved to South Beach, Florida, when you were very young.
Yes, and I went to South Beach Elementary School, Ida M. Fisher Junior High, Miami Beach High School, and it was a joy growing up in Florida. I still have a lot of friends that live in Florida, in Naples and in Boca. The character I played on The Nanny, Sylvia Fine, Fran's mother and father live in Boca. And when I met her, she said, why do you wear your hair so high? That was funny because her hair was higher, but she didn't really have any awareness of how high her hair was.
Very funny. But you, if I read correctly, you started out as a stand-up comedian. Is that correct?
No, actually, I started out in drama. I wanted to be Joan Fontaine. That's who I wanted to be. Remember her?
Of
She
course.
was really beautiful and very dramatic, but I wasn't doing that good. And people said, "Why don't you try comedy? It's easier to get work." I said, "Okay, then I will." But what I used to do is whatever they were looking for, I would be. If I saw they had Show Business magazine, I don't know if they have that anymore. Do they still?
Leo Schultz.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And if it said they were looking for a singer, I would be a singer and show up. A dancer, I would be a dancer and show up. Whatever they were looking for, that's what I did.
Renee, do you know where that drive came from for you?
I guess my mother, I just wanted to be famous. And then when I was like 19, all of a sudden I said, famous is what? You want to be famous as an actress, but a good actress, because I had seen Marlene Dietrich in South Sea Sinners, and I was very impressed with her glamour and her romance. And I was just a kid when I sat all day and saw her. And I said, I'm going to go to acting school. They have the best schools in New York, and I'm going to learn. And I was in Lee Strasberg's class for 8 years. And in my class came Marilyn Monroe.
Wow.
And my show that I was supposed to last year be at the Kravitz Theater, but then with COVID and everything, it was canceled. And I'm hoping to go back there again this year. And all over, because I did my show for a year, My Life on a Diet, which my husband encouraged me to do, because I always thought if I ate like movie stars, I would look like them. So whenever I met someone famous like Marilyn or Grace Kelly, I would ask them what they ate. And I thought, well, if I eat what she eats, then I'll look like her. It almost worked.
But did you also feel that because, I mean, if you were going to be eating like Marilyn Monroe, for example, that type of fame would also rub off on you?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And as time went on, again, I read that you opened for a young singer named Barbra Streisand.
I was so awed. I walked into rehearsal and she was singing. I think she was like 17 or 18. And I walked in and heard her sing. I said, oh my God. I should open for her. She shouldn't open for me. She was great, really. Right at the beginning, she was great.
I interviewed David Shire just a couple of weeks ago. He lives right around the corner from me. And he was her rehearsal pianist. She had such a strong sense of who she was from the very beginning of her career.
But we were so poor, both of us, and that we only had one pair of stockings and we shared it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would put it on, and then when I went off, I would take it off. I would give it to her. We were sharing stockings. Can you imagine not having money for stockings?
Well, you know, there was some, I mean, I know that when I first came to New York, and there's something about being in New York, the friends that you meet at that time, even though you're struggling, there's something golden about those years.
I know. To be at the Bon Soir, they don't have that anymore.
No, it's no longer there.
It was just wonderful. To any place in the village that I played, the Cafe Wa. And that's still there. I walk along the streets in the village with my son, and I say, I played there, I played there, I played there, the bitter end.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yes,
that's still there.
all of those places.
And when did the offers start coming your way? And when did the moment happen for you when they started saying, let's get a Renée Taylor type?
Oh, it took a long time. I think, well, first of all, I've known Lainey Kazan longer than I know my husband, 57 years. And Lainey says it's funny because we're not even 57.
That's true.
She was Barbara's understudy when I met her. And I was Ann Jackson's understudy. And this is before I even knew Joe. And I went on for Ann Jackson, who had broken her arm. And I called everybody. I went through the phone book, George Abbott and Mel Brooks and everybody. I said, I'm going on. You have to see me. And then afterwards, I'm standing in the wings. And I said, oh, my God, I hope I'm good. They're all sitting in the audience. Well, I went on, and George Abbott wrote me a letter. He said, Renee, I don't know how anybody could be better than you. Come to my office. I'm doing a Broadway show, and there's a part in it for you. And I got in that show. And then Mel Brooks saw me. He had come to see Gene Wilder play. I was just the understudy, and I got the part in
The Producers.
The Producers. And I only saw him a few months ago, and he said, Renee, did I ever tell you about how funny you were when you were auditioning 45 years ago? I said, you remember my audition? And he impersonated me. He said, Ich liebe nicht, ich liebe nicht. I was so honored that he remembered me.
Oh my God, I was watching it just recently, and oh my God, you had me on the floor. Hysterical. But I want to go back to you and Joe. I mean, I want to talk about your process and how the two of you came together and the writing that you created and bouncing ideas off of each other. And of course, you got an Oscar nomination for your writing, and it was just pure gold what the two of you created.
Oh, thank you. We didn't even know enough to know. We said, hey, our first show got on Broadway, and then you're nominated for an Academy Award when you sell it to the movies. This is easy. What are people talking about? You know, we didn't know it was hard. And I think that's a very good thing, to think this is going to be easy. This is going to be fun. Show business is a celebration filled with love. And that's how we were when we were young. It's only when you get older that you say, oh my goodness, what did we do?
You just did it. You just did it. And would you ever consider doing, I mean, someone brings it up, would you ever consider doing a master class?
A what kind of class?
A master class. Would you consider teaching yourself?
Oh, sure. At the Strasberg Institute, I talk about, is comedy timing learned, or is it something you have naturally? And everybody thinks it's something that you're just naturally, you have great comic timing. But I think that there's a way that you can develop timing and develop what could be funny. And we'll start with Boleslavsky. If you're concentrated, if you're relaxed, if you find your inner rhythm, your Stanislavski, your Bolis, it all comes, and then it comes to comedy.
When you look at a company, I mean, when you look at the cast of The Nanny, for example, when you first came on, were you surprised? I mean, first of all, I don't think that it was going to be a regular role the way that it became a regular role.
No,
and of course,
it wasn't at all. And Fran said they don't want someone Jewish to play my mother. Well, they even wanted her to be Italian, and she wouldn't. And then they said, okay, you can be Jewish, but we don't want your mother to be Jewish. We want somebody more Episcopalian. They wanted a Sheila McRae, who's a wonderful actress,
yeah.
but she's not a Jewish mother. And so Fran said, look, here's what we'll do. Come on as a guest, and we'll surprise them and let the network say, you know what? Renee would be good as your mother. And Fran said, "No kidding, you think so?" And that's how I got the part.
Talk about chemistry of an ensemble. I mean, the ensemble on that show was just incredible. And what I love about the show is that it was such a throwback to the classic sitcoms that we all came to love.
We had so much fun, but we never knew that it would be. We just had our 28th anniversary, and it's on HBO Max of the show. And young people stop me and they say, "I just saw it for the first time and I just loved it." And people said, "I haven't laughed in years." And they're just discovering it now, all these years later. It's such a testimony to Fran, who, by the way, did you know, is now the president of the Screen Actors Guild?
I know.
Can you believe that?
It's absolutely incredible. And, and if she happens to be watching, God bless her advocacy work on behalf of cancer and the work that she's doing out there. God
so
bless
wonderful.
her. It's
When
just
people
great.
say, "What's your favorite charity?" I always say Cancer Schmancer. Send
Cancer Schmancer.
to them, because they're doing wonderful work for people with cancer, just organic work. And she really takes an interest in everybody's health. And by the way, a few days she said to me, "Renee, I hate to tell you this, but you are not really my mother." She said,
After a while, do you begin to feel that you are her mother?
"Yes."
Yes. And I have to ask you, because of all the eating on the set, I mean, did you enjoy all the eating on the set?
No, I brought a letter from my doctor that said Renee has gained 20 pounds since she's on the show, and she really can't eat that much on the show. And Peter Mark Jacobson, who's the co-producer and the co-creator of The Nanny, said, "Well, Renee, you don't have to eat at rehearsal." I used to, because they had real food. It was so good. I was eating at rehearsal too.
And I can imagine, and also the craft services and everything that's always on the set. So there's always that food that's there. So, I mean, since that's ended and the work that you're doing, I mean, on this film, are there other projects that you're currently working on right now?
Well, starting in March, I'll be touring on My Life on a Diet. I think I'm going to play Florida, Boca, or I don't know where I'm going to play in Florida. And I'm going to play Washington, Delaware. And I've been writing. When Joe died, I almost died myself. As a matter of fact, they said to Gabriel, "Say goodbye to your mother. She won't last the night." Because I didn't feel I had anything to live for without him. And Gabe came and said, "I love you, mother. Goodbye." Then I said, "Wait a minute, I'm not going yet." And I decided at that moment to live. But I thought, I'll never laugh again. I have nothing that makes me laugh. And then I said, "You know who used to make me laugh? Mae West." So I started working on a 3-character play about Mae West, and I'm going to be doing that in workshop in the spring. And I'm going to be playing Mae West, even though they wanted.
Was that Mae West who just did that?
No, that was just caught it. Gabe, put it up, would you please? Do you want to come and say hello to everybody? This is my son, the genius director of Tango Shalom.
Yes.
Hello, everybody. I'm also the guy that holds light bulbs.
He's holding a light in the background.
Gabe, I spoke with him last night. There were elements that I wanted to bring on today that I was going to share as a surprise, but I didn't want to give away spoilers. So I'm glad that I reached out to Gabe last night so that I wouldn't give away the spoilers. But I am going to say this tango at the end of the film, and the choreographer, I am going to have him on the show, by the way. I just booked him today.
Oh, he's wonderful. He is wonderful. I danced with him. He is wonderful, very sexy. He holds you very tight, and he can teach anybody to do the tango.
Well, when you get that second hip and you're back in New York, I want to go tango dancing with you one night, Renee.
Oh, thank you.
Will you do that with me?
I'd love to. You know, there used to be a place called the Tango Palace.
Yes.
Is it still there? We'll go there.
We'll go, and we'll have a great time. But the soundtrack of this film is so incredible.
You know, I don't like to drop names, but my daughter-in-law is responsible for Joseph Bologna for the music.
Yes.
And I hope she's going to be nominated for an Academy Award because she's Greek, and she worked with another composer in Greece, and they got the Greek Philharmonic to record the music. And in the church scenes, they got the Vatican choir. I don't know how did you get the Vatican choir to record in the background? I don't know how. And you know, we filmed in a Muslim place, and we said we don't have any money. Maybe we could give you a bagel and cream cheese. And they said, no, we read the script and we're very happy to give you our temple. So every place that we went, they just gave it to us, which is unheard of. People pay thousands of dollars to get a location.
My hope is that everyone who sees this is going to go and watch it. It's streaming on Amazon. It's streaming on most platforms where you can stream. It's already won, I think, 15 awards. And
and you won't believe it. It won the India Film Festival, Morocco Film Festival, the Brooklyn Film Festival, Montreal. Where else, Gabe?
We were the first film in history to be honored by the United Nations on social media.
Wow.
Parliament of World Religions screened our movie, and the keynote speaker was the Dalai Lama himself.
Wow. He said, Ma, guess where I am? Where? I'm on the dais with the Dalai Lama and the organization's giving us award. I said, oh my goodness. You know, when Joe was young, he wanted to be a priest. Except, you know, he wasn't good at celibacy. But
he's a priest in this film, and he's wonderful.
Yes, he's a priest in this film, and he was so happy about playing a priest.
Well, I want to talk for a moment because Gabe told me that you had your vows with the Pope, Mary Williamson. Tell us a little bit about that because.
Well, I went with a group of people, the National Organization of Italian Women, to Rome. And in our congregation was Geraldine Ferrara, a lot of judges, a lot of esteemed Italian professional women. And the night before, we were with public relations from the Vatican. And I said, you know, the people are very upset about the Pope being against women being priests and all his views on not letting women doing things in the church. How does he feel about a mixed marriage? Because my husband and I'm Jewish and he's Catholic. How does he feel about that? Could he renew our vows? Could he bless us? I said, it would be very good publicity for the Pope. And the woman said, the Pope doesn't need publicity.
It doesn't hurt to give him a little.
But the next day we were at an audience with the Pope, and the woman said, step forward and the Pope will bless you and renew your vows. I said, oh my goodness, a Jewish girl getting blessed and renewed her vows with a Catholic. What a great thing. And it was. And the same thing happened with the Dalai Lama. We went to see the Dalai Lama when he was honored he won the Peace Prize for compassion. And we went backstage and they knew my husband. And they said, the people here, the monks, are very, very big fans of you and Joe. Really? Well, the Dalai Lama is going to bless you. Oh my goodness. And we went backstage and we have pictures. Maybe you can show it. Is this delayed or is this live?
No, we're live.
Oh,
I'll see.
I have to get you pictures of me and the Pope, me and the Dalai Lama and Joe, me and Mutananda, and of course, Mary Ann Williamson, who renewed our vows on our 40th wedding anniversary. And our bridesmaids were Lady Kazan, Connie Stevens, Diane Ladd. It was so much fun. Every 5 years we renewed our vows.
That's incredible. Just, I mean, talk about a love story. I mean, this is, have you ever thought about writing a book about this love story that you and Joe shared?
Well, Joe died 4 years ago, and I spent 4 years writing a book about our relationship and how we had a happy marriage in Hollywood, which is 52 years we were married, but in Hollywood it's 364 dog years.
That's right.
And I just finished the book. I'm looking for a publisher. I think a lot of people would be interested in what you do to, well, of course, you have to love each other. The whole thing is without love, without commitment, without fun, without a sense of humor, without not taking yourself seriously. That's the only way. I mean, even when we would fight, I'd say, I never want to see you again. And then Joe would say, well, but where do you want to go for dinner?
Oh my God. Well, I may try to help you find the publisher.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. Because this needs to happen. Because it is a love story.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
And you know something? It's still going on. Every day I talk to him and I ask him what he thinks about this and what that and what he thinks about. And he's always there. And
oh, I believe it. Absolutely. I believe
always
that.
Supportive.
I was at, I'm going to bring Carol up again. I was at her memorial and Tyne Daly said, always think of her as being in the next room because she is. And I always think of that.
She's a friend of mine, she and Sharon Gless. They're good friends of mine.
I always think of Carol as being, and she's all around me. Her photographs are everywhere. Oh. And always think of her as being in the next room, so she's here.
She said to me, I'm waiting for you, but don't rush.
Right. You've got a lot of work to do here, Renee. And we don't want you to go anywhere anytime soon.
Oh, thank you. I can't wait to meet you in person.
Well, we did meet. We were at Haley Swindle's show. We actually sat and talked, and we talked about Mae West. This was before COVID, so it was a few years ago. There were a lot of people around you, so there was a lot.
I went to her apartment. Have you ever been to her apartment?
Haley Swindle's?
No, Mae West.
Mae West. Okay.
And I was just so surprised at how tiny the rooms were. She was tiny, and her kitchen and her bedroom and the men she had affairs with, their bedroom, it was all so small. I was expecting, because she was so grand, it'd be very big.
She was a very tiny woman herself, but what is the fascination with Mae West that you're interested in, and what do you want to bring to audiences that may surprise some people?
The thing about Mae West was she had so much fun, and she wasn't dirty. She was suggestive, and she was so witty. And she had such a joy of life. And she had a lot of compassion. And do you know that she had a lover that was Black? And her landlord, how she came to buy the building that she lived in, her landlord called her up and said, I know that you are in love with this man. And she said, no, it's just sex.
Huh.
And he said, yes, but he can't come in the front of the building. He's got to come in the back entrance. And she said, you know what? I'm buying the building and you come in the back entrance if you want to work here as the janitor. And that's the story of how she bought that famous building.
Good for her. Wow. Way ahead of her time.
Yes, in every way. In every way. She had Final Cut. There's a famous story about her, how she got Final Cut with Adolf Zucker at Paramount. They said, you know, she said, keep the camera going while I go upstairs and I'm going to keep talking. And he said, what should I do? She wants the camera to keep going. And he said, oh, just keep the camera going, humor her. And then when the picture comes out, we'll cut it and she'll just have a couple of lines. Well, the picture came out. It starred George Raft, and she was the funniest thing in it. And they ran after her and they said, oh, we want you to do another movie. And she said, only if I write it, produce it, star in it, and get Final Cut. They said, okay, we can cut it later. But it was so great that they didn't cut it.
Do you have a favorite Mae West line?
Oh gosh, they all are.
There's so many. I'll tell you what mine is.
What?
In one of her films, her maid comes in and she says, I'm going to go out and get myself a husband. And Mae West says to her, honey, leave the husbands alone and get yourself a single man.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought was funny. There's also when there's a courtroom scene and the judge says, are you showing contempt for the court? And she says, I'm trying my best to hide it.
Oh, yeah. I remember one. She comes into a nightclub and she's dripping in diamonds and furs. And the hat check girl says to her, my goodness, what beautiful diamonds. How goodness. And she said, goodness had nothing to do with them.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I want to get back to Tango Shalom for a moment. When you first read the script, and again, it's a family affair, what was your initial reaction to the script when you first read it?
Well, you know, the mother was like my mother because my mother didn't have a range of emotions because in those days, women didn't get angry. So whatever happened, my mother would cry. If there was good things, bad things, if she was scared, if she was angry, that was her range of expression. And so I thought that would be funny to have this mother be that way too, to cry at everything. And Gabe, when he was directing me, kept saying, cry more, Ma, cry more.
And boy, do you cry more.
Yeah.
And you and Lainey, you are so funny together. I think that we need a modern day road movie with just the two of you, no other characters in the film.
Wouldn't that be great?
Going on the road. Somebody needs to write this. Maybe you can write it yourself. The two of you, just no one else in the film, because the chemistry between the two of you is so incredible.
She is so funny. You have to have her on this show.
Oh,
if I tell
in a heartbeat, I would love to have her on this show.
Because I'm always teasing her because she says, you know, when I dated Sinatra, I said, listen, if this will go no further than your show, Richard.
Okay.
Said, listen.
It's just you and me.
Yeah. I said, Frank Sinatra never dated anybody. You mean you slept with him? She said, no, I didn't sleep with him. I didn't say that. I said, I didn't say you had sex with him. You slept with him. He was on this side of the bed and you were on that side of the bed. She said, well, you could say that.
And you've had this incredible relationship. You said 57 years.
Yes.
Yeah, you've had, I mean, what is that magic between the two of you on screen? I mean, and your scenes together on The Nanny. hysterical.
Oh yeah, she was so funny on the Nanny. She was wonderful. This just
And she was Frieda. Frieda. I mean, was that an homage to your mom's name also?
No, because Fran's aunt is Frieda, and her grandmother was Yetta, and her mother is Sylvia. So it was really named after them. It was really a tribute to them.
And, once again with Tango Shalom, what is the message that you want people to get from this film?
I think it's that we've forgotten to be kind. And I think that that's what I would like on my gravestone. I would like it to say she was kind.
It's amazing. And again, I don't want to give away anything, but just the perceptions that people have about what's going on in the film and the way that people are reacting to what's going on in the film. And I hope that I'm giving enough of a teaser to get people to go and watch the film.
It was magical doing it. It was magical watching it. And every time I see it and I see my husband up there on the screen, it's really wonderful. And
well, I'm going to say something. And again, I'm not giving anything away, Gabe. But at that last moment in the film, when that last image on the film, and the little tribute to Joe, I started to cry. So I can only imagine what it was. I mean, that moment in the film just tugged at my heart. And I thought...
And now my great-grandson, Oliver Joe Bologna, was just born.
And the acknowledgement to him in the credits.
Yeah.
So
I'm just so fortunate. If you have love, then you're rich. And I feel very, very rich.
And I love the fact that so many, it covers all religions. To me, the tenet to all religions is the basic rule of do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Right.
I believe that all religions lead down that path. And I think that that's the basic theme of this film. And I think, and my hope is that everyone's going to see it. Everyone's going to,
it's on VOD and on Amazon, and I think it's only $6.99 to watch it.
And you can see it in the comfort of your own home, in pajamas, which is the way I watched it last night. And I'm telling you, I was up dancing the tango last night. It is such a great film.
Music, you can buy the album. It's wonderful.
Oh, there's an album available?
Yeah.
Well,
Gabe, how do you get the music?
Actually, we haven't released it yet.
Oh.
But we will soon.
Oh, good.
Well, let me know as soon as I can get the album, because I definitely want to get the album and listen to. I will still refer to it as an album. I want to say, as we wrap up, everyone, all the details on YouTube are going to be in the text below this video. Tell your friends about this so that you'll be able to just click on the link and go and watch this on Amazon and all streaming. Is this going to be shown in movie theaters as well moving forward?
Yes, right now it's in Palm Springs. And I just heard that the Palm Springs Jewish Film Festival, I don't know if we're allowed, they wanted to give me an award and Lainey an award for being in the movie. And I said to Gabe, you know what? I don't want to compete with her. Make it a tie. Give us both the awards. So I don't know if that'll happen. I don't want to compete with her.
Well, how can we make that happen? What can I do to make that happen?
The film, the distributor's Vision, which is an all-women company. I think it's the only one. it's up to them to say, yes, we can be in the Palm Beach Jewish Film Festival. So the Palm Springs Jewish Film Festival. So we're waiting to hear if they'll do that.
Okay. Well, as we wrap up, one of my favorite shows, you mentioned the Actors Studio. I used to love Inside the Actors Studio. James Lipton, he always ended his show with his questions. I'm not going to ask his questions. I've got my own questions here. So this is just some random questions I'm going to throw at you.
Okay.
So just for the fun of it, these are just for fun. And my first question to you, what is the nicest thing that anyone has ever said to you?
Well, Joe always compared everything to Italy. And wherever we'd go, Mexico, he'd say, it's not Italy. And Paris, it's not Italy. And Beverly Hills, it's not Italy. It's almost Italy. Our garden is almost Italy. And I said to him, Joe, am I almost Italy? And he said, no, you're Italy.
Ah.
Because that was the height. That was the best thing.
And you are. You are.
Yeah.
The next question, if you could model your life after anyone living or passed on, who would it be?
Well, I think it would be Ruth Ginsburg because she had a lot of courage and a lot of perseverance. And I really followed her and really admired her. And of course, Eleanor Roosevelt, she was really brave then. The way they, criticize first ladies, she was really outstanding.
Great answers. You mentioned earlier sharing pantyhose with Barbra Streisand. I'm going to ask you, and you probably have already answered this question, but I've got the question right here. What is the poorest that you've ever been, and how did you overcome it?
Well, I think that was pretty it. When I was started out as a comedian at the Improv, I would get $5 a night for doing my act. $5. And I'd say, okay, now how am I going to make this last for the week? And of course, I ate a lot of tuna fish.
Well, when I first came to New York, it was macaroni and cheese. That was it. And
all kinds of tricks you could do with tuna fish to stretch it, with celery, with onions, with carrots, with peppers. I could take a can of tuna fish and share it. So it could be like a whole big schnitzel, what they call a schnitzel in Yiddish.
Yes. Next question. What are the best and worst letters that you ever received in the mail? And don't give away any names because I don't want to, point anyone out.
Letters?
Letters.
You mean like, dear so-and-so, I hate you? Oh, I don't know. I never read anything bad. If somebody opened up a fan letter and they said it was something bad, I'd say, don't tell me. Really, I don't want to hear it. I don't know why somebody would waste that energy.
Yes.
Want to pass it on.
But what's the best letter that you ever received?
From George Abbott, who said, dear Renee, I don't know how I framed it, how anybody could be better in this part. Come and see me. I want to put you in my Broadway show.
Wow, that's great. What is the strongest that you've ever been in your career?
Strongest? Well, I have to tell you, having my hip operated on a month ago and being in the gay parade was not only strong, it was wacko. Afterwards, I said, I did that? I must be crazy.
But you did it.
If I fell, I'd be back in the hospital.
Wow. Well, God bless you. And this is an interesting question. Have you ever had a Freudian moment in your career?
A Freudian? Make a faux pas, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, all the time. All the Academy Awards. I thought we're going to win. I mean, why would they call us here? Why would we? We rented Elvis Presley's limousine. I got this gown from Bergdorf Goodman that 20th Century Fox paid for. Of course, it's destiny. I'm going to win the Academy Award. And they called the name. They said, and the nominations are, I heard my name, and I started to get up, and they said, they called another name. I said, who's that? And the guy sitting next to me said, me, that's me. Could you get out of the way, please? And that's who won the award for MASH.
Wow.
And that won the Best Screenplay Award. I was so embarrassed.
Well, it should have been you. Describe, and I think I know the answer to this next question. Describe your image of perfection.
There is no perfection. Only when you're dead are you perfect, because you can't be any more dead.
Okay, that's interesting.
You're as dead as dead is dead. It's the end. So that's perfect. Only death is perfect.
And my last question to you is, have you ever had a recurring dream? And if so, what is that recurring dream?
Oh, yes. When I was young, I had a recurring dream that put me in analysis, actually. And it was that I was falling off a cliff, and someone put their hand out to me and grab me and catch me and pull me up back on the cliff. And I'd say, oh, that was exciting. Let's do that again. And I thought, oh, my goodness, I'm in trouble. If I create danger for the excitement, I better see a doctor.
Wow. Wow. Well, Renee, I hope you have had as much fun today as I have.
I have.
I am such, it's such an honor to have you here. Gabe, thank you for all your help in making this happen today. It's not lip service. I love the film so much. And anything that I can do to facilitate this film being an even bigger hit, I am there. Don't go anywhere for a moment. I want to thank everybody for being here. I know that I can speak for Renee and Gabe when I say this. We don't take it for granted in this business when you spend a little time with us. So the fact that you spent an hour with us this afternoon, I say thank you very much from my heart.
Yeah.
So if this is your first time at Richard Skipper Celebrates, my hope is that it won't be your last time. On Richard Skipper Celebrates, there's a banner, and there's a little button that says join the celebration. I got rid of the word subscribe because subscribe means something faceless. And the people that come here mean more to me than just subscribers. My goal is to celebrate everybody that spends time with me, both on screen and off screen. There have been over 350 other artists that I've had on this show. Check them out as well. Leave a comment on today's show. Share this with your friends. Go and watch Tango Shalom, if not tonight, tomorrow, or the next day, and then tell your friends about it. And then what I want you to do is I want you to go to your Facebook friends page, and I want you to reach out to the 9th name on your page with a phone call, not an email message, not a text message, not a private inbox message, a phone call, and let that person know what they mean to you. Because as my dear friend David Friedman always says, we're all in this together, but we're not in the same boat. And I always say, if you're going to be out in a boat, make sure you bring a skipper along. Now, Renee, I'm going to leave the screen and I'm going to give you the final word. Anything that you want to say about anything that we talked about today that you want to expound upon, anything that we didn't talk about that you wish we had, or just any final message that you want to put out to anyone who's watching right now, you or Gabe together. And don't worry about how to end the show, because as soon as you say goodbye, I'm going to end the show. I love you. I thank you for being here. I thank you both for the gifts that you've given to the world and that you're going to continue to give to the world. Thank you so much. And shalom. Goodbye.
Shalom. Bless you. All I want to say is shalom, shalom. It's paradise. It's paradise. This is paradise to share the love of my career and the passion of making this film with my husband and my son and my daughter-in-law and the Leonardo brothers, Lainey Kazan and Irina Smirnoff. It's just been absolutely a wonderful experience. And write to me on my Instagram. I'd love to hear how you liked it. I mean, if you didn't like it, don't write. I don't like to hear bad things. I only like to hear how you liked it and where you cried and where you laughed and who you shared it with. And mazel tov to all of you too. Thank you.
Thank you.